welcome to the video. Hope you're all doing great out there. Not a lot happening here. I'm trying to work out if I've actually hit a ball yet in January. I think I've not managed it yet. I've hit a few practice shots and I'm happy with the way I'm hitting it. My last actual game of golf was just after Christmas, but not in January, so quite an achievement that. But the weather's not for going out. And why film on a golf course that's on, off fairways, for example, lift in place or hit off mats, and winter greens. The Stealth Taylormade irons, that's what we're talking about. Now, it's not a new thing Taylormade have done, but where I think the game of golf has gone beyond somewhere that would help and assist you to something more like a hindrance was when they started putting the lofts of these clubs on steroids. Now, the new Stealth irons have super thin, flexible faces on them with a composite material to support them, but the flex on the face is super hot ball speeds, especially on off-centre strikes. So across the face, the ball's going to go further. On top of that, they've tweaked the lofts so that a 7 iron has the loft of a 5 iron. A 5 iron has a loft of a 3 iron. 6 iron, a loft of a 4 iron. Stronger lofts, right? Which means that most golfers now will put the 5 iron to the pitching wedge in the bag, bearing in mind that the pitching wedge has the loft of a 9 iron. So effectively, you're carrying in your bag a 9 iron to 3 iron, loft-wise. Obviously, the step gaps between the clubs, i.e. 5 iron, 6 iron, 7 iron, 8 iron, 9 iron, wedge, 6 clubs, they're so much stronger that your gapping then becomes a major issue. Now, my problem with this is it's not always a wedge shot. So if you take a set of irons and buy a set of irons 5 to 9 or here's my point. If you take the 5 to 9, the 9 irons and 8 iron, in lofts, and it goes as far as that. So you'd be 145 yards. Now, that really shows you how strong the yardage is, and the gap problem becomes available then. So the only way to fill it would be filling your bag full of wedges. Now, here's my problem. These irons, especially Taylormade Stealth, they're a very acquired look. They're not blades, they're quite chunky. I called them chunky monkeys. They are cavity backs that are supposed to give maximum forgiveness. I mean, we'll put the pictures up here. They're not good looking irons. They're not offensively ugly, but when you start putting wedges in, you're effectively going to split your bag into 2 sets of clubs. Wedges are very much field clubs, so they tend to be a lot better looking. But they also do not go as far distance-wise as the Stealth irons. So gapping is going to become an issue. So you end up with a bag full of wedges, right? So you're going to go probably 48 degree, 52, 56 and a 60. Keeping in mind it's 4 degree, probably optimal gapping. But that still doesn't fit your bag. And also the gap between effectively the long and mid irons is still there. Short shaping ability is gone as well. So my point in this video is putting the lofts on steroids does two things. also lowers your ball flight unless you use shafts that give you a high kick point, therefore flight the ball. But again, it just means you're hitting a 5-iron that's technically a 3-iron, and so on. So you can still probably gap yourself, as in work out how far your club's going, but then your fluidity of the set that you're building to get something that looks, but not only looks good on the eye, but feels the same swing weight wise and look wise through the bag, is near impossible to do. Now, if you're a field player or someone who has a consistent distance, that's where your playing golf and shot making ability will suffer. Now, if you're, say for example, in America where the game of golf is played 90% in the air, i.e. any ball that goes high and drops on the green stops, unlike here in Britain where you get really super dry, hard summer, so you can basically struggle to stop the ball on a green. And I think that all these like pumped up super like de-lofted irons only make the game harder to play and also make it harder to actually fit your bag. I know that probably gone are the days of standard lofts. However, if you look at Tiger Woods, for an example, he plays classically lofted irons, 3-iron all the way to pitch and wedge, giving him zero massive gap. It's all increments that are very, very highly controlled and close, and that's why he's one of the best players, as well as the likes of Sergio, if you want to look at an iron player, Ram as well. Again, these guys do not have big gapping. They work on 6 to 12 yard gapping maximum. Anytime you start mucking about with lofts, yeah, we're getting you to hit the ball further, in my opinion, just causes issues down the bag. And I've yet to see a manufacturer address this with like a fluid set that may have stronger lofts, but actually, as you go up the bag into the wedge section, address this. I know a few companies have said, oh yeah, but we took away the speed slot from the higher lofted clubs because, well, heck, they even admitted it themselves. Man, these clubs are going so far, they were uncontrollable. Certain clubs with the speed slots in the wedges and 9-irons, if you got a flyer off one, it was going as far as a 7-iron went. You know, just like ridiculous, because it was coming off the club face, not only hot, but with almost overspin, so it was going through the air like, you know, a long iron. Almost makes a game of golf 3 times, 4 times, 5 times more hard to actually play and score. Which people forget. It's not how far you hit the ball, it's how low you score. So it's what helps you do that. And that tends to be, most golfers score with mid-irons, short irons and the putter. That's not changed. So all this hype about how far you hit the ball and what club you're going in with, I mean, that's the classic, because I play classic lofted irons, right? So give you an example, when I go into a green with a good standard 6-iron, which I usually hit about 180 flat out, I could be standing next to somebody and they've gone to the same green and they've hit an 8-iron in one of these sets that I'm talking about that's tweaked lofts, and it flies about 150, 60 and then bounces on, and you're thinking, just where does it stop? I'm not sure myself, but certainly it's 2022 and they're still putting out these sets with like super strong lofts and now making the faces super flexible. But what I will say is be careful what you wish for, because in knowing circumstances, I can't stress this enough, it definitely makes playing the game of golf harder, not easier. Comment below. What do you think? I mean, it's an acquired taste. Obviously, if you've played with older lofts, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you've just constantly played with newer lofts, then you may well struggle to understand what I'm on about because you're just used to the ball going that far. Thanks for watching. Channel's all for charity. Macmillan, Help the Heroes, and Shelter UK.